Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Week in Nintendo. Every Saturday I like to go back through the past week's biggest headlines so you can get all caught up on all things Nintendo. If you're new here and you like these weekly news rundowns, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything happening with the channel. And with all that out of the way, let's go through this week's Nintendo news. On Monday, 8BitDo unveiled a new wireless arcade pad for Nintendo Switch and PC, featuring a very similar look to the classic NES Advantage controller. The moddable controller supports 2.4 GHz wireless and Bluetooth, or can be wired with a USB-C connection. 8BitDo's arcade stick can be pre-ordered directly from their website or from Amazon for $89.99 and is expected to ship on October 20th. Tuesday, we learned that Nintendo will now be allowing eShop pre-orders to be canceled up until 7 days before a game's release. Previously, payment would be accepted immediately after pre-ordering a game, but now the transaction won't take place until 7 days prior, and again, once that happens, you won't be able to cancel your order. This news comes after Nintendo's ongoing court battle with German and Norwegian consumer protection agencies that claimed Nintendo's eShop policies in the EU were illegal. Germany initially ruled in favor of Nintendo's anti-cancellation policy, but European consumer protection agencies immediately appealed the decision, which will likely result in years of ongoing court hearings. So this does seem like a step in the right direction on Nintendo's part, but I am curious, other than maybe taking advantage of some early adopter discount, what exactly is the benefit to pre-ordering a digital game? Wednesday, we found out that the Nintendo Switch version of Rocket League will no longer require a Nintendo Switch Online subscription for online multiplayer once the game goes free-to-play sometime in the coming weeks. We talked about this upcoming free-to-play update to Rocket League a few weeks back, which will also allow for cross-platform progression through an Epic Games account, as well as granting access to all Rocket League branded paid DLC to anyone who purchased the game prior to the update. I have to admit, I haven't played Rocket League all that much in recent months, but this upcoming update has me excited to jump back in. Thursday, we got a surprise Super Mario Bros. 35th Anniversary Direct, finally confirming the existence of a 3D Mario collection, although the announcement certainly came with a few caveats. Before we go over the details of the upcoming 3D Mario All-Stars, we had a few other fun announcements and reveals to celebrate Super Mario's 35th. First, we were shown a Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch handheld featuring a full-color LCD screen and containing both the original Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels games, along with an updated Super Mario Bros. Themed version of the classic Game & Watch ball game. The nostalgic handheld features the classic Nintendo D-pad, can function as a clock, and features 35 hidden Mario Easter eggs. The Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch handheld will release on November 13th for $49.99, and I think a lot of fans would have preferred Nintendo go the direction of something like a Game Boy Classic, but this was still an unexpected little surprise. Next, we were shown the long-rumored Switch port of Super Mario 3D World with an official title of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. By far the biggest letdown of the announcement was that the game wouldn't be arriving until February 12, 2021, but otherwise everything shown here actually exceeded my expectations. Of course, we'll get the standard bump in resolution with the game coming to the Switch, as well as the mysterious Bowser's Fury content that we only saw a brief glimpse of, but the game will also be getting online co-op play, and the movement speed of the characters looks to have been sped up considerably, something that was a common complaint among fans of the game. So even though the wait is disappointing, this looks to be a Wii U port done right. Then we got the reveal for Super Mario 35, a battle royale take on the original Super Mario Bros. That pits you against 35 other players in a near identical setup to Tetris 99's competitive play. The game will be available exclusively for Nintendo Switch Online members and will release on October 1st. Strangely though, it will only be playable until March 31st, 2021. Next was the biggest surprise of the presentation for me. What initially seemed like maybe a trailer for the next proper Mario Kart installment was instead an incredibly Nintendo package with Super Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, an AR Mario Kart experience where you use your Switch to control an RC Mario Kart with a camera, which then streams the footage to the Switch and overlays it with AR Mario Kart elements. Players can create custom track layouts inside their house where they can face off against CPU or IRL players, and firing a shell or banana peel at another player will cause their RC car to momentarily pause while the mayhem plays out on the screen. It's a product that definitely seems aimed at younger kids, but I have to praise Nintendo for their creativity on this one. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is expected to launch October 16th of this year, and the entire package will cost $99. Then the big one, Super Mario Bros. 3D All-Stars was unveiled, which made good on the rumors of the game being a collection containing Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy all on one cartridge. Now, to get to those caveats I spoke of a few minutes ago, right off the bat, many people, including myself, were disappointed to see that Super Mario 64 is not getting a remake treatment. In fact, all the games included could be described more as ports, offering slight improvements and optimizations to run on the Nintendo Switch. Mario 64, though, won't even feature 16:9 widescreen support, which is a really unfortunate detail. Of course, we're getting a bump in resolution and some very slight texture improvements, but that's really about it as far as 64 goes. Luckily, Mario Sunshine is getting widescreen support and will run at 1080p, but the game will also run at 30 frames per second, just like the original. Super Mario Galaxy is also only really benefiting from a bump in resolution and reworked pointer controls. Now, before it sounds like I'm getting too down on the collection, I am very excited to be able to have all of these great games on the go, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't somewhat disappointed by some of the decisions made here. I will say I came across some graphics comparisons of the original games with the Switch ports, and I was shocked to see that the original games didn't look nearly as good as I remembered, and when we see things side by side, the overall improvements were far more obvious. Even though many of the rumors of the All-Stars collection made no mention of Super Mario Galaxy 2, many were disappointed to see the game curiously omitted, although I have seen some arguments about a few of the puzzles in Galaxy 2 that required motion controls to maneuver Yoshi's tongue to navigate some of the levels, and maybe those would have been difficult mechanics to rework, but only Nintendo knows the reason for the game's omission. It was certainly a nice surprise to learn that the game would be coming in just a few weeks, releasing on September 18th, with pre-orders going up shortly after the presentation, although again the game will curiously only be available both physically and digitally until March 31st, 2021. I've seen all sorts of speculation as to why this is, Nintendo creating false scarcity to drive up sales, although I would think making the game available for a longer period of time would help sales overall, or that the games will be split up and sold individually for a higher price than when included in the collection, which sounds a bit more likely to me. So overall, I'm happy to finally put an end to these rumors and to replay Sunshine, which is probably the 3D Mario title I've played the least of, but again, I can't help but be a little bummed to see Nintendo make some very Nintendo decisions with the re-releases of these games. Of course, the fanbase is quite divided on this one, with some complaining about what they see as missteps on Nintendo's part, while others condemn those doing the complaining, saying they should just be thankful for what they got. I think I find myself somewhere in the middle, but I'd love to know below what are your thoughts on the quickly approaching Super Mario 3D All-Stars. There were a few other fun surprises included here. The original Super Mario All-Stars was added to the Nintendo Switch Online SNES app. There will be a Super Mario themed Splatfest coming to Splatoon 2. Super Mario furniture will be coming to Animal Crossing New Horizons, and My Nintendo will actually be offering some physical rewards for what I think is the first time since the good old Club Nintendo days. So I will say, with Nintendo being so quiet up until this point, I was beginning to think that maybe the 3D Mario collection would be the big holiday release this year, but with the game coming in mid-September and then Pikmin 3 Deluxe in October, I think there's still hope that Nintendo could announce one more Switch title for the holidays. Who knows, maybe that's when we get new Pokemon Snap. Friday, we got the Nintendo Switch launch trailer for Spinch, a psychedelic side-scrolling platformer from Queen Bee Games, with the visuals being handled by Jesse Jacobs, one of the lead animators of Cartoon Network's award-winning show Adventure Time. Spinch is available now from the Switch eShop at a slight discount of $13.49. And that does it for this week's Nintendo news, but before we go, it's time for 20 years ago today, where we take a look back at what was happening with Nintendo 20 years ago this week. And this week, we're taking a look at the third installment in one of the Nintendo 64's most iconic series, Turok 3: Shadows of Oblivion. Releasing nearly 4 years after the original Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Shadows of Oblivion didn't reach quite the same critical heights as the two games that preceded it, as it strayed from the series' dinosaur hunting roots and moved toward more of a commonplace mainstream FPS, probably due in part to many of the original dev team departing for Retro Studios. IGN's Fran Mirabella rated the game with a 7.4 and said, "When all is said and done, the game isn't the Turok we once knew. I'd love to see the franchise return to where it came from. the jungle. Turok 3 features a grotesque, twisted storyline as opposed to the more toned-down storyline that the original Turok had, and it almost seems like they were trying too hard to make the game fit in with other FPS franchises. Conversely, the game is one of the only FPS titles you're going to find on the Nintendo 64. If you're a fan of the genre and must satisfy your gun-wielding urge, then pick the game up. However, if you're looking for a return to the series' roots, you'll probably just want to rent the game. I can only say, as a fan of the first game, the thrill is gone. You have to decide what it is about the series you like, the fact that it's an FPS on a Nintendo system, or the fact that it's a game based on Turok, the dinosaur hunter. I actually never played Turok 3, but I did love the first two games, and if you haven't yet, I highly recommend checking out the excellent Switch ports handled by Night Dive Studios. And if you stuck around through all that and like what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing, and until next week, have a great weekend, play some video games, get those All-Stars pre-orders in, and I'll see you next time.